G'day. I think it's recording. AJ Mahari here with another comment response, and this is going to be the last time I address this issue whatsoever. Commenter left a comment on a video I guess I did. A short, maybe like quite a while ago or something. I don't know, covert borderline question mark. Because I've done one since about how Backman's so wrong about covert borderline. Anybody who is espousing the term, the language, the use, the difference, saying covert borderline is wrong, okay? Period. We have the subtypes of BPD to describe things within borderline personality disorder itself, not anything to do with narcissistic personality disorder or anything else. And it is called, the subtype is called discouraged borderline, known as quiet borderline. We do not use the word covert for a reason. Some people out there might do it. Some clinicians might do it. I saw something on Psychology Today about covert borderline personality disorder. But what they're really talking about is Theodore Million's better recognized, better language of the quiet borderline, which he referred to and laid out all the traits and etc. of discouraged borderline personality disorder. It doesn't matter the subtype. It matters the words used greatly. But aside from that, no two people with borderline personality disorder are exactly the same. Whether they have other things or whatnot, it doesn't matter. No two individuals with borderline personality disorder are the same. For some people out there, maybe not the people that usually watch me, maybe not all the people that come to work with me, but some people out there really ought to just stay off this channel like this commenter, because frankly, who needs it? But here I go again. So the commenter said, if I can read it, the light in my face, just because a personality disorder has elements doesn't mean it's just melted together. Well, guess what, Bubby boy, whoever you are, just because a personality disorder has elements doesn't mean that they don't, in somewhat kind of pattern ways, fit together under a diagnosis. One major diagnosis, even if other things are going on. That's why I'm here in the niche area of focusing only on borderline personality disorder and codependency, the dynamics, the relationships, etc. And I'm not like everyone else who goes off and talks about the narcissist every 10 minutes. Doesn't mean I don't know about it, though. Oh, these people just blow my blood sometimes for a moment or two. And the commenter continues, it's BPD with narcissistic-like features, not BPD and NPD mixed together. No, you're wrong. For every single person diagnosed with BPD, it's not BPD mixed with, where'd you say that? Mixed with, sorry, I can't find my place. It's not BPD and NPD mixed, no, wait a minute. It's with, I can't find it. It's just melted together. It's BPD with narcissistic-like features, not BPD and NPD mixed together. No, it's borderline personality disorder, which is what borderline personality disorder is defined as clinically and what it actually means. And you don't know what that is clearly. Which means there are different subtypes of BPD, just like there are different types. Oh, you're saying types but not subtypes of NPD. Interesting, because that's not probably very correct either. So just as there are different subtypes of BPD, there are different types of NPD. Then this commenter says to me, you need to read the DSM-5 to get more understanding. Excuse me? I'll just leave it at that. Excuse me? I have read the DSM-5. There is not one mention in DSM-5 or DSM-5-TR that says at all covert borderline. Nor do they go on and on about every borderline has to have all of these items from this and that and the other. These are the traits of BPD, yes, etc. But they don't go on to say, which you're going to go on to say. Why do I waste my time with these fools? I don't know. I need to read the DSM-5 to get more understanding, says Bozo. Okay. Whatever you think. You just need to buzz off is what you need to do, because, like, yeah, I shouldn't even be doing this, but, like, I'm sick and tired of this. Can I make it any clearer to you that I am an expert? I know what I'm talking about, and I don't know who the hell you are in the universe. And then all the other people out there, you guys, you gotta stop thinking like this dude. You gotta stop thinking that you know what professionals know, because you don't. And then when you learn more and more, well, when you're learning it in the echo chamber online, in the BPD Lab ones, Reddit, other forums, Quora, etc., other YouTubers don't know what they're talking about. I'm not saying every single one of them, but most of them that don't know what they're talking about on BPD. Yeah. Just listen to them and then have somebody like this clown come and tell me I need to read the DSM-5. As if I haven't. As if I don't read studies. As if I don't know what I'm talking about. But hey, I don't feel like defending myself too much to like a clown, okay? Got it. I need to read the DSM. You're funny. Unfortunately, a lot of mental health disorders are comorbid, which me, dude, I don't know who you are. Maybe you're just a trolley troll. Maybe you are somebody that I know that you would talk down to me this way. Yeah, I find it kind of rather, I don't know, typical in a way, but like a little rare, but annoying, but not a big deal. But anyways, you're talking down to me, dude, so really. Unfortunately, probably a guy-woman thing, right? I don't know. I can't read the name. I don't care who it is. Unfortunately, a lot of mental health disorders are comorbid, which means, I think I know what it means, boob. I know what it means, clown. I know what it means, you think you know it all. Probably some troll. Which means a person can have multiple disorders co-occurring at the same time. That's not what comorbid means at all. Because there's a difference, clown boy. There's a difference between comorbid and co-occurring, okay? But what do you know? You think I know nothing. What do you know? There have been criminals who have committed murder who had BPD and ASP. What's ASP? ASP, what's that? Autism spectrum. It's not antisocial personality disorder. It's missing the D. What's ASP? Brilliant one. So yeah, there have been criminals. Well, yeah, okay. People who have committed murder, who become criminals, who had BPD and whatever the heck they left off the letter or whatever, because BPD and ASPD are not very comorbid, not even proven to be comorbid or co-occurring. Very often, less than 2% in males with BPD, less than 1.2% of females. All of them diagnosed. That's what the latest studies say. Have you read those? Because read the DSM-5 too, dude. Have you read anything? So yeah, criminals who've committed murder who had BPD and whatever, or NPD and ASPD, you can disagree, but don't say it's wrong. You're wrong. Don't say it's wrong. You're wrong. Are there people that have committed murder that have BPD alone? Yes. People with BPD alone, some, because they're not all the same at all, have, like a wife, a female with BPD. Yes, they have murdered some of their spouses, and vice versa. The males with BPD have done the same to females. And well, if you pay attention to true crime, you see a lot of cases where women are ending the lives of their husbands, and husbands are ending the lives of their wives, and sometimes they take the opposite and or themselves and the spouse, whichever gender, and the children. And these are all heavily involved in people that are suffering from maybe various mental health disorders, but it can happen within BPD. It doesn't have to be somebody with BPD co-occurring something else, comorbid something else. And you said you can disagree, but don't say it's wrong. It's my channel, dude. Right? It's my channel. And frankly, yeah, you piss me off because you don't know what you're talking about. And then you project that onto me and say, I don't know what I'm talking about in your little references to things. And I should read the DSM-5 so I can understand it better. You're funny. You're really funny. Anyway, anybody else that's confused about this stuff, co-occurring things with BPD are often things like anxiety, depression, whether not always clinical depression, could be low grade, could be a higher level of depression. It's often situational to why they have BPD, which isn't 100% genetic. Like Dr. What's his name? Salerno says, and then takes back and then says different things in a plethora of different interviews. People got to start pushing back against that dude, in my humble opinion, where BPD is concerned. I don't care what people say about narcissists. I don't have anything to do with narcissistic personality disorder other than that I had parents with that and other cluster B things. And by the way, yeah, hey dude, person, commenter, just don't say it's wrong. I had 2 cluster B parents that were alcoholics and they had comorbidities. And so, I've experienced it firsthand, lived experience from from the day I was born on. So I think I know a little bit about that. But whatever, if you think I know nothing, please do me a favor, trundle along. Don't bother listening to me. Don't bother watching me. Don't bother with the channel. It's perfectly fine. I don't need people here with your, screw everything up and say it like it's real and then tell me to don't say it's wrong. Because comorbid means one thing and co-occurring means another. And what's going to be comorbid is not going to be coming from the same pool of mental health disorders and classifications as, what did I say first? What's comorbid. Or if I said comorbid first, then turn it around the other way. Anyway, yeah, I do find these comments frustrating. They get deleted from my channel because they're erroneous. They're wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, over here, you can take it or you can leave it, bub, or anybody else who might find this annoying. I am going to continue to delineate correctly. And all of you people, or the odd one like this one, that comes along and you want to tell me how wrong I am and I need to read the DSM or whatever, or, I can disagree with you. Well, thank you for permission that I don't need at all. And you can disagree with me all you want, but you won't be commenting on the channel anymore, so I don't want to waste my time with people like you. I have a lot of important things to get done, and I have a lot slated to do that explains a lot for people out there who really want to know more and aren't pretending to know it all, for people out there that are really suffering on the other side of people with BPD. And let me reiterate again, there are no 2 people with borderline personality disorder that are alike. There's over 256 trait combinations, symptoms that aren't all listed in the DSM-5 or TR or the previous DSMs that I've been around for. What are you, 22 or something? Well, I'm in my late 60s. I've been around a long time and I know what I'm talking about. But I don't think I have to defend myself to the likes of somebody like you, because you're the typical, maybe you like Salerno, you probably like Wagner. You're the typical, let's just smash it all together and then try to tell experts why they're wrong. But your smashing it all together is so wrong and erroneous and inaccurate to begin with. Borderline personality disorder does not have traits of narcissistic personality disorder ipso facto to be what it is. In fact, if you knew anything about what Otto Kernberg laid out there, it's kind of like sort of the other way around, but not really. Anyway, I don't think I can read this person's name. Writing is magic. 5597. Well, your writing isn't magic. Your writing is annoying, silly, and frankly a waste of my time. But I thought I'd answer you. And you said at the end, you can disagree, but don't say it's wrong. Don't tell me what to do, dude. I don't know who you are in the world, but I'll do what I want and I'll say what I want on my channel, on my podcast, etc. And yeah, whatever. You're the one that's lost here, not me. And it matters because you're the type that puts out the wrong information to probably a plethora of people, whether it's a comment on a channel at a time or whether you're, who knows who you are, I don't care. But anyway, what you said, it skirts a little bit of accuracy to a point, but it's highly inaccurate at the same time. And sorry, but you can't tell me to not tell you that you're wrong when you're wrong. So if anybody else is wondering, what you're hearing a lot about there and from commenters like this, who don't know what they're talking about, but who they think they're geniuses, all of them, Well, there's so much misinformation out there, it's enough to choke a horse, like, or like maybe like all the horses on the planet at a given moment. So let me just say this again, okay? There are no two people with borderline personality disorder that are alike. There are these common patterns, and many people with BPD will have some of those patterns, but not in all the same ways. So all of you people out there that say things like, well, somebody says, my borderline girlfriend did yada, 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 and yada, yada, yada. You're like, mine did too. Oh, we must be dating the same person. Yuck, yuck, yuck. No, because while there might be similarities people can point to in their experience, or people with BPD, there are vast differences too. There aren't, I don't dwell on that a lot because that's not the focus of this channel. I'm trying to explain BPD to people. People like just think I don't know anything, whatever. You're wrong, commenter. And I'll say it all day long. I could, but I won't. But the bottom line is you can't keep, if you are somebody who's with somebody with BPD, or you have a family member with BPD, not just significant others, or a friend, or you're the favorite person of somebody with BPD, which means you have codependency and you're not in an enviable position at all. And the bottom line is, all these people in your life, or people in your life that could have BPD. There are narcissists, like lots of narcissists out there too, garden variety as I call them, because they might have 5 traits and they can be helped. And they are being helped by clinicians. And then there's, the more traits that people with NPD have, and malignant narcissistic personality disorder, it's very, very different. And it's very, very different from borderline personality disorder. Let me just add again, for example, borderlines are not after supply, ladies and gentlemen. Narcissists are, but borderlines aren't. So, there's so many studies out there, they don't mean squat. But the bottom line is, if this guy was trying to say ASPD and forgot to type the personality, the D for disorder, let's be careful not to start mixing up like autism spectrum with antisocial personality disorder. And by the way, everybody that gets diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder isn't ipso facto a psychopath, because psychopathy is not measured like only by that supposed, quote, personality disorder. So 1/3 of people diagnosed with ASPD are probably actually psychopathic. The other 2/3 aren't. And there is no clear mandate whatsoever or proof that people with BPD are comorbid with antisocial personality disorder. And it's still up in the air. It's highly debated. Some clinicians think so, some don't. The studies that I've read, and some of them are very recent, and I've said this before though, they say that if there's comorbidity between BPD and ASPD, if they say, these are the researching clinicians, not me and not this seemingly know-it-all, know-nothing commenter. They say if there's comorbidity between BPD and ASPD, it is just under 2% of all men diagnosed with BPD that might have comorbidity with ASPD, or mingling traits, which really doesn't work well in a clinical picture. And less than 1.2% of all females diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. That study was done with subjects with BPD, male and female, in prison population. So, there's other people out there, they'll sacrifice information. There's a couple, they know what they're talking about, but they'll sacrifice information in a heartbeat for the clickbait title and go on to say, oh, like there's a YouTuber out there, big channel, right? And she said in a video that 10 whatever that prove 10 traits or 10 things that prove BPD, females, and comorbidity with ASPD. And I've got a podcast up here on the channel where I eviscerate that video of that person, because 8 of the 10 traits that they were trying to say were ASPD, comorbid, BPD were actually just BPD traits. They only got 2 traits of ASPD right. So it's a very wrong, inaccurate video. Anyway, I've gone on long enough, and Yeah, I just love sitting here watching these people come by now saying, you should read the DSM-5. Like, I have no clue about it and whatever. But, it's a general disrespect that I get a lot because it's probably trolls behind it. And, one or two names come to mind, and it's probably that. And if it's not that, well, then whoever this person is, I welcome you to, vacate the channel. You don't need to comment anymore. You don't need to watch. You don't need to listen. If you don't think I have any expertise and you don't agree with me, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But you're going to put up this kind of pablum crap that's wrong and inaccurate, I won't be answering you again because I'll be blocking you, okay? And if you come back as another iteration of another name of whatever, then I'll still recognize the writing and we won't be talking because I don't have any room and space on this channel to feature or agree with inaccuracy, people that don't know what they're talking about and make it sound so like they do. But then when you put in there that I should read the DSM-5, then I know where you're coming from, dude. You were incredibly inaccurate and basically wrong, and there is no such clinical, meaningful language as covert borderline, nor does there need to be, nor should there ever be. It's people's agenda, like Bachman and a few others, and I guess somebody on Psychology Today. It's their agenda to try to fuse BPD together with NPD. And even though there is comorbidity for some people with BPD, with NPD, it's never going to be the double diagnosis, or it shouldn't be, because there's always one major diagnosis and there can be traits of the other. That works both ways, I guess. But bottom line is, so much out there in the public, so much out there on the internet is utterly inaccurate. And I'm going to have something coming soon on, what is it called? BPD Phantom X theory, which is just pop psychology mythology on steroids. But what is it about some of you people out there? And not to this commenter, but to anyone else listening, I say with empathy and with respect, not the commenter. If you are lost in all this information, come to my channel rather than try to tell me I don't know anything like this commenter, or challenge what I do know, what I say, and why I will beat it like a dead horse over and over again. There's no such thing as a covert borderline. We don't need the language. It's not in the DSM-5. It's just what some lazy people with agendas are trying to use. And it doesn't make them correct. And I care about delineating everything because there's so much inaccuracy out there. And I'm not saying I'm the be-all to end-all, but I really don't think anybody else does what I do in talking about BPD. And if you disagree with me or you don't think that's an accurate statement, fine. That's just all that I know because I can't watch the whole friggin' internet, okay? So anyway, my passion here at this moment is not about this commenter's ridiculous inaccuracy and whatever. And I dismiss them outright. They're wrong. And all under the guise of trying to what? Talk about covert borderline, but they didn't even talk about covert borderline? It's not in the DSM-5 or the TR. Why don't you read it, person? So, thing is, I try to delineate as much as I can. My information works for the people that it resonates with. It's valid and clear information, and I clearly have lived both sides of this fence, and I clearly have not only the lived experience, but the education to know what I'm talking about. If you don't think that, move along to the next person. Move along, watch other YouTubers, listen to them, whatever. I won't miss you at all. If you value what I have to say, if you resonate with it, if you want to really understand what you're going through with somebody with BPD, I'm out here to work with people that resonate with me. I'm very busy, working with lots and lots of clients, got room for more. If you'd care to be one, I can give you accurate information all day long. I answer clients' questions ad infinitum, have done so for 36 years, explaining BPD in a very, very accurate, easy to understand way for you. And what's the message about that? If you're with somebody with BPD right now, they're untreated, they're maybe not even diagnosed, they're showing the patterns. Because there are patterns, even though there's no two people with BPD that are exactly alike. that are going to do the same things all the time or for the same reasons or with the same intent or as consciously aware as some and as unconsciously unaware as many. So bottom line is, if you value delineation and accurate information, then I believe I'm the channel for you, or one of them. But I don't know who else is delineating. I don't know who else is trying to be very accurate. That doesn't then go on to really focus on narcissists instead of people with BPD, because it's by far a much more, I guess, quote, popular, unquote, topic all over the internet. And now there's all these people in the narcissistic abuse community that are just entertaining Salerno and his crap, and it is crap, about the genetics of NPD and BPD and he's throwing stuff back to the 1950s because, well, what I've seen so far about Salerno in a lot of interviews that he's done, I can't stand watching too many of them. He had a cluster B in his life, he hasn't got over it yet. So the mentors that he mentions, all 2 or 3 of them, the mentors that I would mention, like previous clinicians and people's work who I've learned from and I learned about in university, I could probably, if I sat down and make a list, I could come up with 200 to 300 of them. He's got 3. It's the other side of the equation. It's not the accurate side of the equation. But the narcissistic abuse community is loving what he's saying about narcissists. But, the guy's what? He doesn't even look 45 and he's retired from clinical practice already? Anyway, I got off on a tangent there. Bottom line is, no 2 people with BPD are the same. Not all people with BPD have narcissistic traits. Not all people with BPD have comorbid this, that, and the other thing, or co-occurring. There's a difference between what's comorbid and what's co-occurring. And so if you find yourself lost in all this information out there because you just want to be validated about how bad the borderline is or how horrible they've been to you, which I'm not here to debate that, your lived experience is your truth. And people with BPD unfortunately hurt others to really immense degrees, very traumatizing, etc. But if you want to sit there and just play that game of like, well, my borderline this, my borderline that, my borderline the other thing, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get any relief. You need to get out of the relationship. You need to go no contact. You need to get working with someone like myself if I resonate with you. If you want the real way out, you want the real way to heal, and you want to realize that you have codependency and what does that mean, and childhood woundedness, and that it led you directly into the relationship with the borderline unconsciously, then, hey, check out more on the channel, watch for more, check out my podcast, go look at my website. I have, articles there, plus, the odd video or like podcast episode. And of course, there you can book sessions with me one-on-one, and you can really find out if I know my stuff or not. But I think I've already shown in 32, 33, I don't know, what is it, 36 years I've been at this. 5 of them weren't online, so I'm so bad at math, I don't know. 32 years now, I think. This month that I've been online. So, in various iterations since 1995, I've been giving information on this topic. And this little numbskull comes along and says, why don't I read the DSM-5? No, it's people out there, never mind that goof, but all of you out there who might watch the odd video, hear me, podcast, whatever, what I'm inviting you to do is, if you resonate with me, if you want to know more and you want to know the truth and you want it delineated so you can really understand it and heal, then by all means, visit ajmahari.ca/sessions and take care.